24 at Daytona is brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms. And by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Beautiful rosy lights settling over at Daytona International Speedway, and the party has just begun. Out of the midway, with Tommy Kendall and Justin Bell, I'm Bob Varsha. Andrew Marriott and Jamie Howe are down in the pit lane. There are the spotters high above our announce position, which is high above start finish.
Here we have a battle for the lead. Sebastian Bourdais in the Starworks car, and that's Memo Rojas in the 01 Chip Ganassi Sabatis car.
And they've really had a very solid run here for the last. Oh, he just gets a bit sideways out there on the marbles. It's already building up out there, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects him through the fast kink, as he did take a wider line there. But Rojas is not giving him any call today. He's filling up his mirrors.
I think Sebastian took the inside in here thinking he might have some stuff on his tires. It's always toughest being the first guy to the traffic. The guy behind usually gets through easier than the guy in front.
That was a nice move there. He's giving a bit of clear air. He comes onto the banking, and look, Memo's stuck there on the outside of those Porsches. Always an instant of nervousness, just as you go out there thinking, I hope they know I'm here, because it's messy if they don't. But the driving standard so far, I think, has been excellent.
Well, we really haven't seen much misbehavior out there, and that's usually the first thing the drivers complain about.
Although I'm sure that
I'm looking at you, Justin Bell.
Exactly, thank you very much. I'm sure if we were down there, they'd be able to tell us a couple of tales, because something is happening every corner, every second of this race. But I tell you, Bourdais has a really fast car on exit. He comes out of the bus stop really very well. But if you're in second place right now, what's the rush? You're comfortable, you can pace it, you can let him to get to traffic first, as you just said. So I wouldn't be in a hurry to overtake him unless I really was faster.
Look at that BMW that's been strong all weekend on the banking, closing up big time. Like Pruitt said, though, the only strategy now is it's an interesting way to put it, waiting for the hours to click off and just not making mistakes.
Yet making 100 in split-second decisions every lap. And you know, we saw it at Le Mans with Magnesius crash, 2 years ago, and everyone was saying, oh, what a terrible decision he made. But he made 10,000 good decisions before that bad one. And that's what happens around here. You rely on the traffic, you make a decision. And before the night is out, I know we're going to be talking about someone hitting someone. And, it was a decision that didn't go right. So far, it's falling the right way.
Board with Bourdais as he goes around the GT Audi.
The pace, I'm a little surprised with only one yellow. I mean, if this was a distance race, we'd be, but you can't hurry up the clock. But the cars that are trying to get laps back, part of the procedures that they put in place, they work really hard. In the years past, you used to have yellows. Depending where the overall leader was, the GT cars get penalized. They've worked that all out, and you've got the ability to get laps back under yellow. We just haven't had enough yellows.
Top three cars in the overall, covered by about 4.5 seconds. And on the left, you see an incident in the pit. The 31 car, the Corvette right there, left its pit, but they had a big fuel spill. What do we know, Jamie?
Well, Bob, fuel spilled all over pit lane. It looks like the nozzle that connects to the car is what broke off of the hose, and when that broke off, fuel just went everywhere. You see the safety team and the team now putting some dry onto the fuel, trying to soak it up a little bit, because it is a lot of fuel, and it's a big safety concern. Safety clean going out. 31 still stopped on pit lane.
That is a lot of fuel.
The fact that the car is still there tells me that it probably left maybe with the nozzle still plugged in.
But if it's broken into the top of the neck there,
at the dry brake.
The dry brake, he can't go, can he? This is a great battle, and there's people right now this time of night. It's a great time for the fans to be out there watching, and they're still relatively sober, relatively being a term, so they can watch.
Yeah, we took a drive around the infield. A lot of folks having a lot of fun. I believe the infield is pretty much sold out for this running of the Rolex 24.
I autographed a rubber chicken on the way from the infield studio. That's a first for me.
You did, I saw that.
Playing a version of horseshoes or whatever with rubber chickens.
Well, it's nice to know your fan base is still alive. Or rubberized.
While you were doing it, I regaled the crew with tales of the chicken car, which you own. I assume you still own.
It will be the last thing I own. The last thing to go, Bob. Times will have to get real hard.
You got pictures on Facebook or somewhere where fans can go see the chicken car?
Facebook has El Gallo Grande has his own Facebook page.
Driver mistake there. They ran the curve on the inside, and he just hit the bump on the inside bob there, lost momentum, and the Memo was able to go right around the outside. Very nice driving though. He didn't block, he didn't contest. He knew that he knew he'd messed up in the middle of the bus stop.
A little bit of a role reversal. Last year, the starter's car, before the damage, had so much speed, and the Ganassi cars really didn't have it. And they ran a mistake-free race for most of the race, kept themselves close, but just never showed much real speed.
2 years ago, the Action Express team came here in their debut. Grandian Rolex Racing and Rolex 24, and they won. And now, we talked earlier about the Snow family, Melanie and son Madison, who are driving in the same car here at the Rolex 24. We have a brother act going on at Action Express, but Bert and Brian Frizzell are driving different sister cars in the same team. Bert running in the 9 car, currently in 4th place. Brother Brian back in 7th in the 5 car.
And anyone that's been around here knows what a family affair. It's not just the brothers. Their dad, Brad Frizzell, has been around racing for 35 years. The Monza that he took to Le Mans was here this weekend. Anyone that used to follow the Can-Am, the Frisbee, the Frizz and Frisbee, is Brad Frizzell. Developed that car. Alan Jr., Paul Tracy, all those guys race. And he's been really active in trying to get these guys' career, helping maneuver and so forth. I talked to him at the test. He says, I don't have a job. I have absolutely nothing to do. I said, how are you doing that? He says, well, I'm trying to enjoy it. But he says, I need something to do. But they finally got into top DP prototype equipment and different ones. And so they're racing against each other. I tried to get him to tell me stories, one versus the other. And they said, we really just support each other. It's almost too good to be true. There was no dirt. There was no, nastiness. It's just a really cool family story.
There's Bert in the 4th place Action Express, number 9. Oops.
Oh, that's a little on the inside.
Yeah, I'd be really glad you showed that one after talking so glowingly about his brother.
Brad Frizzell is also a 12 Hours of Sebring winner, and I mention that mainly because I want to remind you, you will see the 12 Hours of Sebring here on Speed in March.
Was you raced with your brother?
I raced with my older brother. I sure did. And that's one of the kennel family trivias. Between my dad, my brother, and I, what's the only kennel that never won Sebring? They love to tell that one. I don't tell it very often.
Another break coming up, and we'll be back as darkness descends at Daytona International Speedway.
The drive that fuels the WeatherTech racing team is the same that drives us to make the highest quality automotive accessories. WeatherTech, driven to perform.
Look for your baby, searching all the world around. Looking for your baby, searching all the world around. I jumped on Sputnik, didn't know I was spaceward bound.
Like a glove.
I'm flying so fast, just ripping through the night and day.
Tired of faded bumpers, foggy headlights, weathered, sun-damaged vehicles? You've spent time and money applying product again and again to hide those embarrassing parts on your car, only to have that work fade away. Not anymore. Introducing White New, the world's longest-lasting solution for restoring and protecting your vehicle. And we guarantee it to last for years. Just apply White New once. It's quick and easy to do. Just one swipe and watch your car turn showroom new.
I've been a professional auto detailer for 30 years. Now I restore faded plastic rather than just clean it. And I do it in no time at all. I apply White New to bumpers, side panels, even dashes and interior plastics. Simply apply it once and it lasts for years. White New is the most revolutionary car care product that I've used in my entire detailing career.
We applied White New to the driver's side of this vehicle. We then sent this car through over 100 powerful car washes. White New never faded or washed away, proving that the results will last for years of real-world environmental exposure.
I don't think I ever seen it, Brandon. I got it about 2 years old, and I've never seen it shine like this.
And we guarantee it to last for years. Use it on bumpers, decorative outside panels, side view mirrors, even vinyl or leather car seats for a protected showroom new shine. Don't spend a fortune on temporary fixes. Order the revolutionary White New for only $19.99. But wait, order now and we'll double the size. That's enough for 2 cars. There's still more. Order now and get the Pro Detailing Kit with the headlight applicator bonus. Just pay separate shipping and processing. That's right, White New restores your headlights too. Order now and get it all, plus a 2-year guarantee. A $50 value for only $19.99. Order now.
To get your White New detailing kit, call 1-800-578-0581. White New comes with a 2-year money-back guarantee and is not available in stores. So call 1-800-578-0581 and order today.
It is go time, boys. They're going to go for great car control. That is unbelievable stuff. That's going to get tight there, mixing it up.
Coming to pit lane, rolling the dice.
That'll shred this wheel.
No holds barred racing right to the end.
That was an awesome drive.
Tune in to the Grand Am Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Saturday, February 2nd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.
Plenty to do at Daytona. Welcome back to Speed's coverage. Now 3.5 hours in. The 2013 edition of one of the world's great motorsports classics, the Rolex 24. I'm Bob Varsha, joined now by Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader. High above start finish, down in the pit lane, Chris Neville and Matt Yoakum. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday night. As you can see, a lot going on in the infield. There's the number 13 Audi. Rum Bum team owned by Luis Bacardi of Distilled Spirits fame, hence the name. The 56 is in. Clint Boyer behind the wheel. Matt Yoakum is there.
And Bob, he's going to do a double stint. He'll run one more time, and then Rob Coffin will get in the race car. Clint is the car. Very good. Nice drive. Rob's is one thing that people almost underestimate how smooth Clint is behind the wheel. Yes, he won Sprint Cup race at Sonoma last year on the road course. He told me the biggest thing for him, endurance racing in Cup is similar to running in Grand Am, which he's used body-wise to running long distances. It's just all the other nuances that our experts in the booth have talked about all race long. They have topped him off with Sonoma, and he wins.
Well, Matt, he just checked the track temp out here at the beginning of the race. It was 95 degrees, about 80-degree ambient temperature. Just checked that track temp down to 65 degrees. And talking with some of these teams, they definitely were dealing with cars that were either a little bit tight or a little bit loose in the first couple hours of this race. But most of the engineers and crew chiefs said they really didn't want to make any changes because we were going to have 13 hours of darkness here. And they knew that that track temp was going to come down. These cars were going to change drastically. So it's going to be very interesting over these next couple hours. Now do you see these teams starting to make some changes?
Yeah, we heard Scott Pruitt when he got out talking about how much cooler the track was after his first long stint than what it was like at about 3:30 Eastern time when the race began. There's another NASCAR star, Jamie McMurray.
Watching that monitor, getting ready to go in there. I'll tell you one thing. Tonight would be the optimum night to drive a race car around Daytona. We've got a full moon. We've got all these lights that we didn't used to have. It's absolutely wonderful outside. Maybe 58 degrees. It would be fun right now to go out there and haul around this great racetrack.
It really is. These are perfect conditions for this 24-hour race. There's no threat of rain throughout the course of the 24 hours, certainly forecast.
and the track is in really good shape, and everyone's starting to get in the rhythm. They're making those little chassis adjustments that Chris mentioned, but you don't want to go too far. You don't want to chase the track too much because it is changing. As it starts to cool off and that track temperature comes down, that will change the balance of the race car. But we saw Jamie Mack getting ready. That was a prescribed rotation for that 02 car. It's going to be Dixon, Franchitti, Jamie Mack, and then Joey Henry going forward. That's a pretty strong rider lineup they've got there with the 02. And the nice thing with the 02 is they're not thinking of the big picture, Dorsey. They can go for an outright win here. The 01, they've got to think about the championship as well. So it's a little different kind of complexion to the race for them.
Good point right there, Calvin. Jordan Taylor just really got loose in the brake zone down there in this big group of Daytona prototype cars that are all fighting for each other. He almost got it turned around. Good save.
Pit stop for the number 30 GT leader when they pitted. Patrick Delay, Porsche factory driver from France, remains in the car. Getting back to temperatures, the overnight temperature expected to be about 54 degrees, about 20 degrees cooler Fahrenheit than it was at the heat of the day.
I'll tell you what, these tires are performing beautifully. The Continental tire, they're on a different compound and construction to what they ran here last year. This is the DPI tire on the Daytona prototype and the GTI on the GT machines. A tire that they really designed for Indianapolis, but it's worked really well on a number of courses. All of the teams seem to be very happy with the balance and also the longevity, how many miles you can put on. The typical run here with the DP is about 27, 28 laps. We had teams doing some 60 laps on the same set of tires, so we expect them to double sprint at night. Chris?
Yeah, Calvin Gardner Franchitti getting out, handing over to Jamie McMurray. The team's taking a little bit more time with these stops, not just fuel and tires, but watching these crew members. Some of them looking into these wheel wells, checking things like rod shaft boots, trying to see if there's anything, any tears on any of those boots or anything potentially leaking. It looked like on the left rear corner, the crew member was making a small fix over here. Nothing on the outside of the car. Now that the wheel's on, so maybe something up underneath that wheel well. But still, they got everything done before all the wheels on the car.
And back into battle they go. 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. I was about to say we were watching a battle for 5th place between the 99 and the 10, but the Red Dragon gauge car machine and now makes a pit stop.
On your right side of the screen there, the 60 machine from the quarter laps back. After, in fact, it was a clever stroke, which basically disconnected the front tie rod on the left corner. A.J. Allmendinger supposedly was in the clear, Dorsey, on the infield as opposed to on the banking, but still had a bit of a scare. And Oz Negri, you saw him limp away there on the driver change, and he's got his 30 minutes in. Let's switch in. What's going on with the Gainesville squad?
Oh, Mamo Kidley getting out of the car. Everything looks great on that Corvette right now. Noticed a little bit of a fire up in the right front wheel well on the brakes there. Typically that's a little bit of debris on that brake rotor. As soon as they come to pit lane, that stuff kind of flare up and cause a little bit of fire, but no real concern there. Darren Law getting his chance behind the wheel.
Darren Law is distinctive among all of the drivers in the Grand Am ranks. He's the only driver who has run every race in the Rolex under Grand Am sanction. 162, I believe, to this point.
You know, you can see if he can continue that streak. Bobby does not have a full-time ride for the year. Left the Action Express squad at the end of 2012. Picked up the ride as the third driver, fourth driver, the extra driver, let's call it, with the Gainesville squad. But he's really focusing on his job as CEO of the Bonbon Racing School, and he's pretty content with that, Dorsey. He recognizes that maybe do a handful of races, but not full-time any longer.
Let's get down and find out how Oz Negri fared in his first day in the car with Matt Yoakum.
A quick debrief with teammates. And Oz, how is the foot, the leg?
Foot, it's okay. I will probably know in a few minutes, but it gave me no problem driving. You know, just getting used to the left foot braking. I think by, you know, after 5-6 laps, I got that down, the proper brake pressure that I should apply with my left foot. But it's all good.
The passion is about this race, but also bigger picture is about the entire season. Are you done, or will you go for another stint later?
We will be very honest. I'm going to be very honest with myself, and if I feel I can do more, I'll let the team know. And you know, if they need me, I'll be there.
Thank you.
I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. He hurt himself in a triathlon. This is a man who's in very, very good shape. If you can see the amount of sweat on his face right there, he worked very hard for what he just did. I'd back it off and save that leg.
And remember, they had Marcus Ambrose there to spell Osnegory if they need to. Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, Memo Rojas, your overall leader in pit lane, just fuel on this stop. They took the air off the windshield, now cleaning that grill. Quite a bit of rubber debris on the grill right now, but obviously we've got nice cool temperatures, so no issues with the temperature in that car. Memo Rojas up and he's out.
Nice routine stop there. That was a 28-lap stint for Memo Rojas with the BMW engine. Seems like the Ford may be sneaking a little bit more than that, so that may be a factor as we get towards the end of the race. But certainly the Ganassi boys seem to have two very strong cars here, and Chris here with one of their drivers.
Yeah, we just saw Dario Franchitti get out of the O2 car, and Dario, you got to do that transition daytime to nighttime. Track temp has come down 30 degrees. What's it like driving out there right now?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's usual problem here is managing traffic. Sometimes you get out your way and you feel like a hero and you're catching the cars in front, and the next couple of 5 laps it doesn't go your way and back you go a bit. So just managing traffic, try not to beat up on the car too much yet. A long way to go, which I'm sure every person you've interviewed has said. But no, the target car is pretty good, so do laps right now, try not to screw it up.
Well, when I saw you get out of the car, you put a headset on and you were talking to the crew up here, Mike Hall and the engineers, and you did some motions like you were shifting the car. Is there a problem with the shifter?
No, I was just telling them occasionally it'll hit the limiter when you try and shift first to second. So that's all. No real problems with the car. Car feels pretty good, so.
Okay, maybe that's something we saw with the initial start. Scott Dixon losing a couple spots, and then on that restart, also I think that was Dario Franchitti behind the wheel on that one restart. That they got jumped by a couple cars behind them.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Chris. I can make the same point. That's what caused Scott Dixon out. He got into that limiter, and then it stopped the engine from really shifting correctly. And you drop down to first gear 3 times around this race circuit, so the boys have got to be careful of that. The tires start to lose a little bit of grip, Dorsey. Suddenly you spin those tires up, you can be catching that rev limiter before you shift to second.
A little off-road here by the 63 Ferrari as he's shortcutted the chicane. No damage gain, so there will be no penalty. That's a software issue more than likely, Calvin, with that shifting problem. Something with that between first and second is just a little bit onto too high side.
Third place DP, Jordan Taylor, and the number 10 Velocity Worldwide Corvette DP. Well, you mentioned that not that much damage, but that car that Alessandro Perguidi took off just a moment ago, his teammate Olivier Beretta did the same thing with him the last hour. There's only so many times you can do that before you're going to hurt something.
Yeah, and I think they smoothed off that grass area through there. Usually don't take a right through there, typically dig in, but they've got lucky a couple of times. 10 team looking strong, Chris. They're coming on. What do you see?
Yeah, nice clean stop by this team. They got 4 new Continental tires on there, Sunoco fuel in, and it was interesting looking at this team. They really took their time. Their crew members have lights on their helmet, and the crew members, especially at the back end of the car, they were looking up underneath the car in the wheel wells, taking those precious extra seconds, just trying to look for anything that potentially could go wrong.
Overall leading cars in, Sebastian Bourdais in the number 2. Driver change, Alan McNish gets in.
Who can forget that battle last year, Dorsey, with he and AJ? That was sensational stuff, which we documented on the front end of this show. He is a terrier, this man. He's finished second 3 times here. The only 3 times he's finished in the runner-up position. He wants that overall win really, really badly. They came up 5.5 seconds short last year with a damaged race car. If they can keep that confident even this year, maybe they'll have a shot at their first win. But those BMW-powered Ganassi cars look awfully tough to beat today.
We wanted to get mad at them because of the over-aggressive driving style, but on the other side of that coin is they're both friends of ours, and that's just the way they are. AJ and this man are just very competitive.
He's still working on his belts there, Bob. He's not tucked in, and he needs to get that sorted because he's getting around the power here pretty shortly. You don't want to be taking your eyes off the road here. And some of the best guys in the business have crashed right there into that wall, particularly when it gets really cold at night. We're not likely to say it'll be overnight hours this year, but sometimes when it drops into the high 30s, 40-degree range, it's tough to get a turn down there.
We saw Osnegory, then we saw Dario Franchitti, both sweating profusely when they got out of the cars. Here comes another sweat hog, if you will, with Matt Yoakum.
Bob, Simon Patrick Sargento just got out of the race car after doing a double stint, weighing Wanamaker in. So how was the race car dealing with some cooling issues for both driver and car?
Yeah, there was no cooling walking in the car, so man, it's a tough way to restart the season, but it is what it is. Hopefully, if the car is reliable, it should be in good shape. It's definitely, the car has become better with the fresh air in the night, so we'll see how it goes, but as long as it's reliable, we should be okay.
Earlier, Katie told me that you guys had a little bit of a balance issue when the sun was out and it was so hot earlier.
Yeah, it was very difficult to drive. The car had a little bit of everything, a lot of movement, so it was very difficult to feel what was happening. But we got through it. It got colder and the car came alive.
Thank you, Simon. Let's go from one Frenchman to another. Chris Neville?
Yeah, you're talking about balance issues down there on the Salen's car. Also, Sebastian Bourdais, you were just telling me some potential balance issues with your car. What's going on with the two?
Yeah, I was struggling pretty bad. I mean, I don't know how we got in the lead, to be honest. After the pit sequence, the guys must have done an awesome job, but we're a bit short on top speed compared to the BMW, and we have a lot of understeer in the middle, so it's a big fight out there.
Yeah, big fight out there, but you're really the only team that's been able to take it to the Ganassi crew and get the lead, so obviously you do have some speed in the car.
Yeah, I think the track is pretty difficult since the beginning, because the lap times are not very fast, and it's very unforgiving. On the braking zone, it's super easy to lock wheels, to shoot long, so you really need to calm things down and be very accurate. So that's the hardest thing with the traffic going on.
Sebastian Bourdais having another good run with Peter Barron's team. He won at the Brickyard last year in the first ever Grand Am Rolex event there.
Dangerous moment now. We've got the 68 as he high-centered on that curve to the chicane.
I've seen this car have a similar incident about an hour ago, so they're having some problems too down in that area of the racetrack. We've documented the 63 Ferrari.
That was Brad Lewis in the car before. Now Jim McCallion has taken over, president of the Grand Prix Association of Long Beach.
On the track map at the beginning of the show that corner, every racetrack has a corner that gives everybody the pit, and this is it right here. Now he's under braking all by himself, locked up the rear brakes, probably just jammed on the brakes too hard, didn't give that settled time between off throttle to brake. But anyway, just turned right around.
Well, he's back underway. The wiser for the incident. Another break coming up. Brian Till will take over my seat when we return to the Rolex 24 at Daytona. There's a look at your top 5 in each class. Stay with us.
Ultra Performance Grease from Royal Purple. Increase bearing life and reliability with UPG. Bearings run cooler, smoother, longer, and quieter with UPG from Royal Purple. UPG, the performance grease that outperforms.
When considering a luxury car, who do you ask for advice? Your cousin spray tans. Your coworker makes mixtapes. And the neighbor is a reenactor. Maybe you should ask the experts, like Edmunds.com and like Forbes. The Acura TM. Luxury. Highly recommended.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the 2013 TL.
Capital One Cash Rewards card gives you 1% cash back on all purchases, plus a 50% annual bonus. And everyone likes 50% more cash. Yeah! 50% more. 50% more flash. 50% more taters. That's where tops come from.
The Capital One Cash Rewards card gives you 1% cash back on every purchase, plus a 50% annual bonus on the cash you earn. It's the card for people who like more cash.
50% more spy stuff. What's in your wallet? This costs too small.
Monster Energy Supercross, all season long, only on Speed. The Asphalt Gladiators return to racing's biggest arena for a full-throttle fight to the finish. Hard into the wall! The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Daytona, February 22nd at 7 Eastern, live on Speed.
At Acceptance Auto Insurance, we're driven by value. And while other companies talk about offers that don't really offer anything, we think you deserve more. Like a little help when you need it. So for a limited time, we'll give you free roadside assistance just for getting a free quote. It's an offer you won't find anywhere else. So for auto insurance that gives you more, call, go online, or visit one of our over 350 locations today. And you can say,
I won with Acceptance.
Parnell.
Morning,
Gibby. You remember the last time you were in here buying lottery tickets?
Yeah, last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, do you remember what we talked about?
About how good the chances of winning Tennessee Cash are.
No, Parnell. About the cow.
What cow?
No farm animals in the store, Parnell.
Oh, come on, Gibby. She's my lucky Tennessee Cash cow.
Outside, please, Parnell.
All right. Well, she was done shopping anyway.
With jackpots starting at $200,000 and drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Tennessee Cash is a cash cow. Moolah.
Now, if that is the kind of excitement we've had up till now, just imagine what is in store. The fans, well, they're going to be warm tonight and maybe cook a little bit of dinner on the campfires beginning to glow out in the infield. Here's a look at the overall standings. We've seen the 0-1 be strong from the get-go, still up top. Looking through the second 20 there. And some good teams as well. Paul Tracy, we talked about the IndyCar star running well with Doran Racing, and they are running there in 11th. 15th, the first of the GT cars, and the Ferraris are there. Look a little further. Marco Holzer starts the 21st position right now and working his way, leading another Porsche, and then one of the Audis. A lot of talent very deep in this field. You saw the names of drivers that you recognize from Le Mans. Spencer Pumpelly, a Porsche stalwart there. 35th right now at Park Place Motorsports. They've had problems with both of their cars, and they're working those bugs out. It was a lug nut on the left front of both of those. And looking back through the rest of the field, Jim McKaylee with a problem just moments ago. And some other problems. Bruno Junqueira, the 43 for Team Salem, the sister car to the 42. They had a good run going early on, and then they had some problems with an input shaft that they had to have taken care of. Live out on the racetrack right now, it's Memo Rojas who leads. And past winners, we've got plenty of them here, and Chris Neville is with one.
Well, Brian, earlier today we talked to Anthony Davidson about his massive wreck at Le Mans. It was 2 years ago this June that Mike Rockenfeller also had a massive wreck at Le Mans. Mike, down one of the back straightaways, you got into another car, or another car got into you. You went up over the guardrail and into the trees, and it was an incredibly scary moment for all of us that have known you. What was that like? I mean, do you remember much about that wreck?
Well, I mean, I didn't go over the guardrail. I was still in between. Yeah, it was the worst moment for sure in my career, and I'm very lucky to be here. And basically, like 3 weeks after that crash, I could do my next race in DTM. So I was, like I said, really fortunate to have no big injuries. But of course, it was a big shame, you know, to miss that chance to win the race again. And yeah, I still would do the same move. And if I look at it, you know, it was. I still don't understand what this guy did on the straight with his Ferrari, but yeah, I mean, after that, I think, you know, he's still driving, and you know, that's part of the game. And yeah, you always have to take or to choose what you do when you overtake. And for me, it was clear, so I would do the same thing again.
Now, you won with this team back in 2010. That was the Generation 2 car. What do you think of the Generation 3 Corvette?
Well, so far, I mean, we are not the quickest out there, but the car is fun to drive. I didn't drive in the pre-test, so I need to get still some laps to go up to speed, but the race is long enough. But I think we are looking strong. The team is great. I mean, so far we are in the top 5, which is good. You know, it's a long race. You need to be there tomorrow, like everybody knows, when it counts. And yeah, we try our best. And first, now I will get in the car and yeah, get my rhythm, and then we will see how it goes.
Yeah, on that next pit stop, we'll see Rocky get behind the wheel.
Well, the 50-plus Predator team trying to find their rhythm. They had problems early on, but for the Highway to Help group, problems have arisen again, this time a right front. It's not going well at all for this team today.
They got about a half a lap to go. You can see his tires shredded. It's doing its weed whacker deal and trying to disassemble the car, and it's a long way back. However, Carlos Patricia say they're doing a good job of keeping the speed down. He's down the apron out of the way. He's trying to get it home.
Yeah, it's a long road home, and you can hear the damage that the bodywork is taking. Hopefully it doesn't get involved in the suspension area. If it's just bodywork, you can change the nose. That's not a big lengthy fix, but if it starts cutting into other stuff, that becomes a problem.
This was down into turn one.
Did he get hit?
Definitely wriggled. Was that just a problem with the braking?
He had a puncture, and the tire was low. It just blew right there. But the wiggle from the puncture wasn't down totally, but it was definitely deflating.
Yeah, he probably wasn't sure initially. Maybe it was the car spun out to the left side because he's coming out of the international horseshoe.
When you, as you said, Calvin, you worry about the suspension components, the brake lines and such on that right front suspension. Bodywork, as you pointed out, easily replaceable. Even the front splitter can be replaced in short order. But you start to get into the suspension, it becomes a big problem.
Big problem. I mean, the nose can be changed in a matter of seconds. If it gets into the splitter, which is now a two-part deal on the Generation 3 Rileys, that's about a 3 to 4 minute change by an experienced team. And no disrespect to this group, but they're probably not as well rehearsed as some of the more regular teams in the series.
Well, Matt, the 50 team have to be kind of scratching their heads a little bit, wondering what's going on there.
Brian, they were debriefing on the radio, and their biggest question was, where do they believe that contact was made? Where on the racetrack was it? They were trying to get the radio communication back and forth, and he was having difficulty hearing out on the racetrack. And then he responded by saying, simply, I believe it was turn one. So they told him to gingerly bring that car back to not cause any more damage, and then they're going to change the tires.
That's exactly where it was. He got together with the 9 car. That is that wiggle that we saw, and perhaps the splitter on the 9 just kind of cut down that right front tire.
Yeah, Bert Frizzell was trying to, you can kind of go down there and kind of bleed around the outside, but Carlos didn't realize that Bert was trying to make that move and kind of kept the car straight trying to diamond the corner. There was contact, and obviously that was a couple of tires.
Hey, brothers Frizzell going at it here. Same team, different car.
Elton Sawyer calls the shots down at Action Express. I'm sure on the radio to both of these drivers right now. Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 5, Bert Frizzell in the 9. Trying to tell these boys we got a long way to go, and we do. We'll bring it all to you. 0-1, Memo Rojas leading. Jamie McMurray, his teammate, right behind. That's the way they started this event. Is that the way they'll finish it? We still have a long way to go and a lot of questions yet to be answered. We'll be back to Daytona.
They're coming out of the hills to conquer the world.
You think your little Euro trash ride could beat my American muscle?
John Reap and his Mullet Mafia pit muscle against import in an epic 3-round battle for a $10,000 paycheck.
He's gonna ram that American muscle all the way down your throat.
Don't mess with rednecks, man. Are you faster than a redneck? Bring it on. Catch a special preview after the trucks race, February 22nd, only on Speed.
Your child doesn't know how many engineers it took to design your tires, or which tread designs didn't make the cut. Your child doesn't care about road surface conditions. Your child doesn't care because they put their trust in you. Which tires are you going to put your trust in? Continental Tires. Innovative technology. Driving confidence.
Racing cars and stopping Alzheimer's disease? Actually, it makes perfect sense. Because whether you're a race car driver, a roadie, or a rocker, Alzheimer's can happen to you. I'm Brian Johnson, and I'm a driver for the most powerful group in the fight, the Alzheimer's Association. Donate today to the Highway to Help and get us across the finish line just that bit faster.
NASCAR is back, and there's only one place to experience Daytona Speed Week's biggest thrills.
Contact again.
Drama.
Our most historic place, our biggest race.
And racing excitement.
No! Flying into the catchfish.
As the high banks roar to life.
A hard crash.
And a new season gets off to a sizzling start.
Live coverage of Daytona Speed Weeks begins February 14th, only on Speed.
If you've always wanted an adjustable bed, now you can shop by phone and save on a new Craftmatic. Call for prices and free information. There's no obligation. Discover our 30-day in-home trial. There's no hassle, no pressure, no pain. No salesman will come to your home. Watch TV, read, rest, and relax at a price you can afford. So call for prices and free information. We won't be undersold.
Call 1-800-318-9161. That's 1-800-318-9161. Call now.
Your business is at a crossroads. The phone company wants to convince you their outdated T1 and DSL internet can get the job done. But the truth is, Charter Business Internet is over 15 times faster than DSL. So don't settle for phone company status quo. Take the smarter road. Charter Business. Can your business afford not to switch? Call or go online today and get the fastest business internet for the price.
Night lasts longer here at Daytona than at any major race, and it brings with it a special beauty. The cars transformed into fast-moving pinpricks of bright light, the pits into a brilliant whiteness, the Ferris wheel revolving as if it was geared somehow to the cars on the track. And it is in this long night that the noise fills the darkness, inescapable. The dull roar and the high-pitched wail, working into every nook and cranny like a rising tide.
13 hours and 18 minutes worth of darkness here in 2013 at the 51st Rolex 24 at Daytona. What an awesome full moon. I think we've seen it have an effect already on a couple of drivers out there. We've seen some decisions that perhaps weren't too wise. You know, Sam Posey in that piece talked about the pinpricks of lights. Interesting to note, when you're looking at these long shots, all of the GT cars required to have amber headlight lenses. So you'll see those on the long shots, bright whites on the Daytona prototypes.
I'll tell you what is happening in the front of this field right now. Memo Rotas's lead is being cut into by Jamie McMurray. He was 8.5 seconds behind. Now he's just over 3. So McMurray has got the hammer down. And for a NASCAR star to come to these road course races and perform like he does, that is something else. That's a great performance by Jamie Mack.
You know, that amber headlight you were talking about, Brian, it's not so much for the spectators to be able to differentiate. It's more like when you're driving and you're in a Daytona prototype, you look back and you see yellow, you know it's not one of your guys.
Jamie Mack just passed Cliff Boyer on the racetrack, but it should be noted, McMurray, a very accomplished road racer and also very good. He races a go-kart a lot. He was here at Daytona right after Christmas racing go-karts, not on the big track, but on the track, the kart track that they have here, and very experienced when it comes to road course racing and does a fantastic job.
Well, so since Lee Diffie would always do it about Australians, I'll just point out that those two are a pair of Missouri boys.
A lot of experience on that Ganassi squad and guys from all different forms of racing, Chris.
Yeah, Brian, we just talked to Mike Rockefeller, German touring car driver, and also German touring car driver, Joey Hand. Joey, you just spent your first season over in German touring car, the entire year there, your rookie year, the only American doing it. You know a lot about motorsports, but going into a season like that, did you learn a few new tricks over there?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, I teach kids how to drive, and I always say, you know, you always got to be open to learn things every day. You know, there's always something to learn. And when you go over there and you've done a lot of stuff like I've done, you almost forget that, you know, and I just had to really open up and learn as much as I could. I mean, you know, you spend a lot of time endurance racing, and you have teammates you pass it off to, and you got to compromise a little bit. And when you get to DTM, I mean, it's just a skosh below F1, you know, and there's no compromise. It's high intensity. You know, the seat is yours, the steering wheel is yours. Anything you want to fix, you fix, and you got to grab every little bit you can, you know, and really focus on those things that I teach kids about, you know, getting into the pit lane, getting out of the pit lane, in the pit box, and just, you know, you can't, there's no room for error. You have to really push, and there's no room for error. And, yeah, it's high intensity. I mean, everybody asks me, how's DTM? I say, well, we're still racing. It's just different.
It's a lot of fun for us to see you over there doing that. Now, you're sitting here, you're going to be getting in the O2 car next, and you're watching our broadcast. Your teammate out there has shaved 3 seconds off the lead car. What does that make you think about as you're getting ready to get behind the wheel?
That makes me think when I get in, I better be leading, you know? I mean, he's only a few seconds off the leader. You know, I've had great times in this Chip Ganassi car. This year we have great stuff. BMW's running good. Every year I've been able to lead laps when I've been with these guys. I led a lot of laps last year, and I was just sitting here thinking it could be a real nice night to lead some laps for me.
And he's going to come back in this brand new suit that he's in right now. Just took it out of the wrapper very white. It's going to have lots of dark spots on it. So have a good run, Joey.
I was able to attend a few of those DTM races last year, and as Joey said, that is a steep learning curve. The intensity is like Formula One with rooftops. But Joey had a couple of top 5 qualifying runs, led a lap in the final race of the championship. He gets another crack at it this year. We're expecting big things of him.
Well, campfire's not the only things glowing around Daytona International Speedway. You see it from the brake rotors. You see it from the exhaust systems as you see tails away shots of Daytona prototypes. We'll be back to more from the Rolex 24 at Daytona, where Memo Rojas leads.
That leaky roof will cost you thousands in repairs. Hi, Phil Swift here. Everyone knows Flex Seal is the easy way to coat, seal, and stop leaks fast. And when you want to use the strength of Flex Seal on surfaces that are light, you're going to love new Flex Seal Bright. The same incredible sealing power as the original. This light coating holds back water, a lot of water. It's like the Hoover Dam in a can. To put Flex Seal to the ultimate test, we sealed this pickup truck. Let's see if this baby's gonna float. That's amazing! We turned this truck into the new Flex Seal boat, and the inside completely dry. Flex Seal is the quick, easy, and economical solution to thousands of problems. And we love the incredible ways people are using it.
I drive this boat at 100 miles an hour. I pull 3 Gs in a turn.
We got a call on the radio that Dan had been hit. He said, hey, try the Flex Seal that we have in the box. We used it, and we were back on the water in no time.
When I get a leak, I use Flex Seal because I know it works.
Don't call a repairman to fix leaks around your home. That'll cost you thousands. You can get Flex Seal in your choice of original or bright for just $19.99. But hold everything. We're going to include another can of Flex Seal. Just pay separate processing. Plus, you'll be able to spray all day with our new Aero Grip sprayer, absolutely free. That's right, you'll get 2 cans of Flex Seal in your choice of original or bright, and the Aero Grip sprayer, all for just $19.99. Here's how to order.
To order Flex Seal Original or Flex Seal Bright, call 1-800-432-7164. That's 1-800-432-7164. Or go to getflexseal.com. Call or go online now.
February 8th, 5 NASCAR heroes receive the sport's greatest honor. The first back-to-back champion, a driver turned owner with an eye for talent, the sport's first superstar, a champion that never backed down, and a man who revolutionized the pit stop. See Baker, Owens, Thomas, Wallace, and Wood enshrined. The 2013 NASCAR Hall of Fame induction ceremony, February 8th at 7:30 Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
20 hours, 18 minutes to go from the Rolex 24 at Daytona. We went away. Memo Rojas was leading. We come back. Jamie McMurray has taken his 0-2 entry. The BMW O'Reilly to the point, and Rojas really beginning to drop back. McMurray has been spectacular over the last several laps.
Yeah, running some really fast lap times, but Memo's been a little bit off the pace. The way Jamie Mack just flew by him. Let's take a look at this replay. There he is, accelerating around NASCAR 3. I wonder if Memo's got some kind of issue, because that is an extraordinary amount of speed to have over one of your sister cars there.
Either that or they called him on the radio and said, you've been run down, just let this happen peacefully. Don't contest. But you're right about one thing, Calvin. He almost hit the apron. You see how he tried to move out of the way, and Memo almost dropped the left front down onto the apron, which can be catastrophic.
And sometimes if you just don't have the balance, maybe the tire pressures didn't come up as they should, or the conditions have changed a bit. If Memo's lost the balance on the race car, that's where experience come in. Don't try and push and find those last few tenths. It doesn't matter right now.
Nope.
And that's where the experience comes into the team to give Memo the leadership. And I'll tell you what, he has really come on strong. So often in the shadow of Scott Brewer, he is now a major factor in that 01 car for the year, he and Scotty.
Chris, what's the word from the Ganassi camp?
Yeah, guys, if we remember back to that last pit stop when we saw Jamie Mack get the 02 car. They did tires and fuel on that car. Where the 01, they left Memo Rojas in the car. They did not change tires, so those are double stint tires on that car. Tim Keene's saying everything's fine. It's just the tires are a bit worn out compared to the 02.
Look at this blinking light situation. This is quite annoying if this is behind you and you're having to deal with this. And usually that's reminiscent of a pit lane speed limiter being on. Of course, we know that's not the case because the car's going too quick. But that was something I wouldn't like.
I would say it's something in the switching for that pit lane speed limiter. Maybe it's attached to the button. The lights are one thing and the limiter is another. But that is what you would see if the limiter was on, obviously, at almost 200 miles an hour. The speed limiter is not on. You saw those glowing brake rotors. Gives you an idea of just how hard they're pushing. And now really beginning to close in on the 02. And 02 dropping back. This is not for position, but gives you an idea that Memo's got a handful.
He does have a handful, and for the 90 car here, Antonio Garcia, I mean, he's lucky that Daytona is lit as well as it is now. Back in the old days, Dorsey, this infield was a nightmare, and if you had headlights going on and off as you're looking for an apex, that would have been a much bigger issue.
You know, and for Memo Rojas, he doesn't know that this isn't intentional. He's thinking, what a jerk, you know, you're blinding me.
Stuck flashing, they need to call him in the pits.
There you
His
go.
lights are stuck, that is not for position.
Timmy Keene on the radio.
And I agree with Timmy. He's telling him, hey, call that car in. You can't have that going on like that. And I agree because you've done it too, Calvin. I mean, those bright lights behind you are just welding into your brain. You know, it's horrible.
Really distracting, and this is not for position, as Timmy Keene said. The 90 car is a lap down on the 2 leaders right now, but for sure, Garcia's thinking, I want to get back on that lead lap, so if he can clip it by Memo here, and then he can try and chase down Jamie Mack, but right now he doesn't seem to have the speed to do that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the officials do have to say, because I know that in years past they've talked about using their lights aggressively. As you see the 51 with a problem, one of the APR Audis. Alex Figge behind the wheel of the 51 right now. Not the first problem we've seen in the bus stop today.
No, and it won't be the last either. I said that on the track map at the beginning.
All right, this guy checked up hard. That was my fault. I shouldn't have been running that close to him. Should not have been that close to him.
There's always an area on every racetrack that's really hard to get through, and this is it here.
Known Alex Figge for years, and he has certainly matured. You just heard him say, that is my fault. I should not have been that close to him. He's catching a slower car. Just got caught out there. Probably had to get off of the throttle as he was turning in, and the car goes around.
Talking about that car in particular, everybody's been driving it, says it's really, really fast, but it's a short wheelbase car, so it gets a bit twitchy. You see Juan Pablo Montoya getting his stuff on as he wants to get in the car next. And the 90 with the flashing headlights has lost communication with the pit, so he can't hear the headlights.
Isn't that convenient?
Do you think he doesn't know that his headlights are flashing?
He can't hear us even if you want him in.
Yeah, we'd love to bring him in, but yeah, he can't hear us right now.
Getting back to Juan Pablo Montoya, a little bit of a raised eyebrows around the paddock about the fact that Juan Pablo has been a little bit of a liability here at Daytona. Tends to run into his competitors with regular abandon, and suddenly they put him in the 01, who just gone for the championship. But Timmy Keene said, I can handle Juan. I've got to talk to him. I've got to stay on top of him. He is mean fast. I want him in my race car. I wanted him this year.
Well, and they feel like Juan, too, if he is in the car that's going to run for the championship, maybe he'll be a little more well-behaved. Jamie Mack into 02 from Ganassi Racing. Leading right now with the Rolex 24 at Daytona. We got a long way to go.
They're coming out of the hills to conquer the world.
You think your little Euro trash ride could beat my American muscle?
John Reap and his Mullet Mafia pit muscle against import in an epic 3-round battle for a $10,000 paycheck.
He's going to ram that American muscle all the way down your throat.
Don't mess with rednecks, man. Are you faster than a redneck? Bring it on. Catch a special preview after the trucks race, February 22nd, only on Speed.
Look for your baby, searching all the world around.
a space woodbound.
Like a glove.
I'm flying so fast, just ripping through night and day.
Feeling buried by all the piles of paper in your home or office? Maybe it's time you traded in the old filing cabinet for a new office assistant. Meet the Neat Desk Scanner and Organizer, the only scanner that actually thinks while it scans. With Neat Desk, all your important documents can be easily scanned and then organized with the NeatWorks software. So that shoebox full of receipts instantly becomes a manageable expense report. That stack of business cards can go directly into your computer's contact list. Virtually any piece of paper automatically becomes a searchable document that you can find with a simple keyword. And here's the best part. If you call or visit us at tryneat.com right now, you can try the Neat Desk or the amazing Neat Portable Scanner for 30 days absolutely free.
What condition is the car in?
It's in great shape. The Gainesville car, 99 Red Dragon. Corvette is good. I mean, we've been pretty smooth out there and taking care of it like everybody else. Obviously, we don't quite have the pace that we want, but we're running our own race. After this race is over, everybody on the team and GM Racing and everybody's going to go back, put on those thinking caps, make sure we have a more competitive piece when we come back for Circuit of the Americas. But 24-hour race, we're looking good. We're running up on the lead lap up front, so nothing to worry about here.
You guys have a lot of consistency within the team, driving together now for 88 races, I believe. It's been a long time. How much does that help you in a race like this?
Oh, it's great. Obviously, seat time is limited at the 24, and it's hard to get drivers through. It's something we don't really need to work on, not only between Alex and myself, but between Darren Law and Mamo, all guys that have a bunch of experience here. So there's obviously consistency in the driver's seat with the crew as well. A bunch of great guys on the Gainesville team. They've been here since the beginning. So, we've been through this rodeo a few times now. I definitely feel like this is the calmest it's ever been, and that's a good thing.
I heard John reference the Circuit of America race. That's the next race for Grand Am, and it will be a home race for him, and Gainesville will be sponsoring it.
Darren Law in the 99 right now. Good to see him in that car. 42, running so well early on. Dane Cameron doing a spectacular job. Wayne Nonamaker behind the wheel. A problem down in the bus stop. That's a familiar tone. We've said that a couple of times today, and when he comes out of it, you can see the left rear tires cut down. The question is that what caused the problem, or is that a result of going off the racetrack?
Hard to say. Also, got into it a little bit with the 8 car. It's hard to see with the headlight glare.
Yeah, it says a good day to die hard on the side. I'd say it was a good way to go up in the bus stop hard. But he did get a little assistance. He was already offset, and he got a little assisting kiss there. But that is very sharp if you drop off the curb there on the way in and on the exit of the bus stop. So I think he was lucky to get away with just that. It's a tire, you can fix it, put it back on, and get a new one on, you get going.
Gustavo Jacobin there in the number 6 from Michael Shank Racing. We're the 60 right behind him. 60 working their way back up. Justin Wilson behind the wheel up to 13. Still many laps down, but they're doing what they need to do. Little bits at a time, Tommy.
Well, and they both these cars got waved around. They stayed out when the other leaders pitted, and as part of the procedure to help you get your laps back, if you stay out when the leaders pit, they will wave you around before they go green. They'll rush around halfway, get a little bit of a gap, duck into the pits, and so they're usually not quite caught up to the back of the pack by the time they go green, but they're getting a lap back on every caution.
Where do you think this might be?
We know that place is the CTF Park Place car. They started off having some problems. They actually had wheel nut issues right at the beginning, and they put new wheel lugs on just before the start of the 24-hour race, and Patrick Long was not happy about that.
With both cars, the 72 and the 73. Here's a replay.
Oh, he just snapped sideways as he tried to get the weight transfer there, and that way as well.
So close to being involved with the other Porsche that comes through. Maybe one of the Racers Group Porsches.
Well, and it's getting slippery offline, and every car that goes off just magnifies that, because he was trying to get it slowed down, a little bit late turning in, got off in the dirty part of the track, and it just gets worse and worse, because every car that goes off, they throw stuff, and they'll try to blow that off during cautions, but we're having so much green flag time that this track is going to be filthy offline.
It is such a fine silt. It's almost like a powder, and you really lose your grip on it. That's what we've seen. The leaders, they're trying to hold on and not lose their grip on the lead right now. It's Juan Pablo Montoya, who leads overall in Daytona Prototypes. Once again, the 44 of Magnus Racing holding down the point in GT.
On the track or in your car, there's no room for error. When it comes to your car's protection, make it WeatherTech. Driven to perform.
Look for your baby, searching all the world around. Looking for your baby, searching all the world around. I jumped on Sputnik, didn't know what space was about.
Like a glove.
I'm flying so fast, just ripping through the night and day.
Feeling buried by all the piles of paper in your home or office? Maybe it's time you traded in the old filing cabinet for a new office assistant. Meet the Neat Desk Scanner and Organizer, the only scanner that actually thinks while it scans. With Neat Desk, all your important documents can be easily scanned and then organized with the NeatWorks software. So that shoebox full of receipts instantly becomes a manageable expense report. That stack of business cards can go directly into your computer's contact list. Virtually any piece of paper automatically becomes a searchable document that you can find with a simple keyword. And here's the best part. If you call or visit us at tryneat.com right now, you can try the Neat Desk or the amazing Neat Portable Scanner for 30 days absolutely free. We'll even pay for the return postage if you decide to send it back. That's how confident we are that you'll love your Neat Organizer. So give us a call or go to tryneat.com for your 30-day free trial and say goodbye to all that paper.
Today's charter tip, bring your shows with you. Watching TV on the couch is great. Watching on the go is even better. As a charter customer, you can do this right now. Just download the apps from networks like HBO, CNN, and TNT at charter.net. Then watch them on your iPad, iPhone, or iPod Touch. Freedom to watch your shows on your time. One more way Charter puts you in control. Go to charter.net/tips to get started today.
In honor of more than 75 years of people helping people, Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union asked members to tell their stories.
I'm kind of tired of that big bank feel. One of the main reasons I opened up an account today is I sell cars, and a lot of the customers that I work with are able to get loans quicker and easier because they have an account with Tennessee Valley, and it's just a much easier process for them.
Go to tvfcu.com and see what we're all about.
Ryan Hunter-Ray comes to pit road to make a routine pit stop in the number 10, the Wayne Taylor Racing Velocity Worldwide entry. Seemed very down when they came here this weekend, thinking that they were well down on power, but some help from Grand Am. They have closed the gap. Car running well, Jamie.
It certainly is. They also have something to prove after their mechanical failure last year, only completing 15 minutes of the beginning 15 minutes of the race. They said this year they want to hold on to the end. If they have a car that they can be on the lead lap at the beginning of the race, if they take a shot at winning this, there's still 18 hours and 46 minutes remaining in the race, according to the pit clock. It's in their pit box. That was a clean stop for Wayne Taylor Racing.
It's one of those deals where you never say die. It's like you said, who would have thought last year in the first half hour that the 10 car would be out of the race? You can't give up hope now just because you feel like you don't quite have the pace, because the bad luck, it's one thing we haven't talked about. You can prepare, you can plan, you can do all of that, but Lady Luck, she's not very nice sometimes, and she can bite.
Well, and it stands to reason almost everyone's going to have challenges. It's who has the bigger ones, and we've talked about how you recover from stuff, and that's one thing Ganassi's been so good at. When I saw the 02 car hit the air hose, a new team that's maybe new to DP, or you get behind like that, you get frustrated, you get upset. The more experienced teams, and especially the team managers on the radio, it's really important for them to say, listen, yellow, this all goes away. The clock gets reset. So, keeping everybody in the right frame of mind. And Pruitt said it, I said it before, we are just trying to burn hours, burn time, let the clock turn over. And So the ebbs and flows between yellows isn't that. Everyone likes to lead, everybody likes to run well, but big picture, you need to keep in mind that it really is all about getting set up for the end with the car that's fresh and the right guy in it, etc.
I like to think of the night as actually having 2, almost 3 distinct phases. Right now, we're into the evening. The drivers, you know who's out there with you at the same time, so there shouldn't be any surprises until driver trainings happen again. But so you're set. Now you get yourself locked in for the next few hours. It's the early hours when the temperature drops. That's when you have to reevaluate and sort of recalibrate. But right now, everyone should be well locked into their night game.
On board with Dion von Moltke in the GT category running 4th. But, you know, if you win here, you get your name in the record books. But when you win the first time in a brand new class, it's even that much more special. GX is the new class this year. And Andrew Marriott has one of the stories and one of the drivers from that class in pit lane.
I certainly do. I've got Shane Lewis with me. Shane, and I was telling you earlier, I told the whole psychedelic story because I'm so old. I was there and saw that car in 70. The car looks great, but more importantly, it runs great.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome looking car. I mean, a real from heritage from the 1970 car, and you were probably there during that race.
I was.
You were there during that race. I tried. I just got back from Dubai for the 24-hour race. It was there.
But where he won this class, by the way, in a Lotus.
Thank you. Yeah, won a class there and trying to bring that momentum here to Daytona. But at the time when I found out the livery, I decided to try to grow little sideburns to go along with it. They haven't quite come in yet, but maybe by the time the 24 hours over, we'll have them in.
Well, that's great. Shane Elvis, I think you call you Lewis.
Can you imagine Andrew in 1970?
I don't want to think about that.
Well, he wasn't any taller, I'll hazard a guess. Yeah, the little ferret, as we call him at Lamar, he's the only one that dares to go when no other pit lane reporter will. Look, it is a beautiful car, that number 16. And thanks, Andrew, for telling us the legacy of that. But this is the hard battle for second. Look at those two go.
The Action Express Corvettes have been in there all day long. Alan McNish in the number 2 car right now. Nelson Piquet Jr. in the number 5. Bert Brazil has been very aggressive in the number 9, running in second for Action Express, and they have slowly and methodically moved their way forward, and they took some bad luck on the part of the 0-2, running over that hose and getting dropped back to move forward. That's what you have to do. Take advantage of other people's mistakes and try not to make any of your own.
And McNish, you know, we saw him dicing it up at the front early on, but wasn't happy with the handling of his car. It looks like they made a shock change. That was the area that mechanic was working under the front end. That's where the canisters, where you make the high-speed, low-speed adjustments on the dampers. And we won't know for sure until we see him around one of the Ganassi cars again to see if they've made any gains.
Let's see how they go through the infield here, because, you know, Alan, I think everyone on the speed broadcast team worldwide feels that he's one of the best sports car drivers in the world. So to see Brian hanging on the back there, to me, elevates Brian's level in this game.
McNish beginning to pull out just a little bit from the 5. Nelson Piquet Jr. right behind him. And as we said, Alan McNish, certainly one of the best sports car drivers in the world. Piquet, he does a pretty good job behind the wheel as well, but it's Juan Pablo Montoya who continues to lead overall, and the Ganassi team has been so strong. We saw it in qualifying. We're seeing the same performance here in the race. In the GT category, I know I sound like a broken record, but the Magnus Racing Porsche, the number 44, continues to lead in that class. Plenty more from Daytona when we come back.
What is it?
NASCAR is back, and there's only one place to experience Daytona Speed Week's biggest thrills.
Contact again.
Drama.
Our most historic place, our biggest race.
And racing excitement.
Oh! Flying into the catch pit.
As the high banks roar to life.
A hard crash.
And a new season gets off to a sizzling start. Live coverage of Daytona Speed Weeks begins February 14th, only on Speed.
racing cars and stopping Alzheimer's disease? Actually, it makes perfect sense. Because whether you're a race car driver, a roadie, or a rocker, Alzheimer's can happen to you. I'm Brian Johnson, and I'm a driver for the most powerful group in the fight, the Alzheimer's Association. Donate today to the Highway to Help and get us across the finish line just that bit faster.
Wow, the car looks great. Just show me the Carfax.
I've got something even better than Carfax, a seal of approval. Ta-da!
That's not what we need. You want to see the accidents and service records reported to Carfax and a price based on the car's history.
You're right. Just show me the Carfax.
If there's something fishy, you know it.
Before you buy a used car, just say, show me the Carfax. Ask your dealer or go to Carfax.com.
Golden Corral just passed America's Family Budget Act. Right now, kids eat for just $2.99 Monday through Thursday. It's all your endless Golden Corral favorites, including our new sirloin filet and our non-stop butterfly shrimp. The $2.99 Kids Dinner Special, only at Golden Corral.
We now offer your family phone service as low as $1.70 a month with Magic Jack Plus. As low as $19.95 a year. No computer needed. Keep your old phone number. That's right, keep your old phone number. Start saving today. Available at Walmart.
February 8th, 5 NASCAR heroes receive the sport's greatest honor. The first back-to-back champion, a driver-turned-owner with an eye for talent. The sport's first superstar, a champion that never backed down, and a man who revolutionized the pit stop. See Baker, Owens, Thomas, Wallace, and Wood enshrined. The 2013 NASCAR Hall of Fame induction ceremony, February 8th at 7:30 Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
The Rolex 24 at Daytona is presented by Rolex, official timekeeper of the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Let's catch you up to speed if you stepped away to have some dinner or whatnot. Great battles between Alan McNish, you ride on board in the 2, and Jamie McMurray. McMurray learning how to use the brake pedal, and McNish glad to show him. Little argy-bargy through turn 1 there. And this went back and forth, and then a problem on pit road for the 0-2. Runs over the air hose with that left front. It'll cost him a stop and a hold for 32nd on pit road. A little further down the pits, more problems. The 57 from Stevenson Motorsports just destroys the right rear tire that had been laid out from Brumos Racing. They too, Jan Magnussen behind the wheel of 57, he too would have to serve a penalty. And then on the racetrack, Ryan Hunter-Ray in the 10, the black and gold Velocity Worldwide entry, having a great go of it with Juan Pablo Montoya. A problem for the 27. The bus stop fights again. Fortunately, misses the tire wall. And then a problem for the 72 from Park Place Motorsports. Steam has struggled throughout the day, Park Place, but they get back underway. But the 45, the second car from Magnus Racing, a problem. The hood or the bonnet, if you're from Europe, open on the 45, and that is a long way back to pit lane when you can't see.
That is when you hope you're one of those, my short little countrymen that can see under the hood like that. Tommy, you would be absolutely stuffed on that, just so you know, mate.
He's doing a pretty good job, actually.
Yeah, he is. Back to that muscle memory thing we talked about.
There you go. Here, when you look at timing and scoring Daytona prototypes, blue. Grand Touring, or GT as we call them, gold in the GX class, denoted in that yellowish color. As they go across the top of the screen, you'll be able to discern which class the cars are in. You ride on board the number 2, the Daytona prototype entry. Alan Nish still behind the wheel. And I think he really likes that car after they've made those shock changes. There's a look at the 0-1. Juan Pablo Montoya.
I've been watching the monitor. He is laying it down. He just posted a lap 300ths off the fast lap for that car. Now, when it tends to get cooler, you often see the quickest times in the nighttime. Brakes work better, tires work better, a little more downforce, a little more engine power with the denser air. But Montoya, I actually talked to Pruitt. I want to get his reaction because ever since Mexico City, when Montoya horned him out of the way for the win in the nationwide race, when they were teammates, they don't care for each other. And Scott said, well, look at the bright side. I don't have to be on the track with him. So he had great things to say about him as a competitor. But here he comes. He's heading for pit lane. Let's see if they do that double stint again on the tires, which we talked about earlier, trying to stockpile. So nope, they're going to change tires this time.
Jamie is there.
Yes, and while Pablo Montoya going to stay behind the wheel, he is getting a fresh street spot on the tires that are coming off the car. Have just under 40 laps on them when they were here at the test. They were able to do about 60 to 70 laps per set of tires. Talk to Tim Keene, they're not quite ready to do that in the race yet, but they believe that they will as the race goes on. Still going in, Andrew.
Down the middle of the front of the 44 car at the moment. The just changing the splitter, but they're banging the new splitter into place in this leading Porsche. And just having a quick look round. Shouldn't take more than another 10 or 15 seconds now, just making absolutely sure that this is the job. And there you have fantastic noise. That's what I love about this job. Back to you, Jamie.
The 02 now has come to a stop. Jamie McMurray looks like he will stay in the car. And actually, they are going to do a driver change. Joey Hand's going to get in. I talked to Joey right after the drivers' meeting this morning, and he said they had a team meeting yesterday where team owner Chip Ganassi said to all of them, you know, accidents, they don't happen. When a meteor falls from the sky and that hits the car, that's an accident. You get hit, you do anything, that's all on you. So coming in to serve that penalty, I would not want to be Jamie McMurray having to go and answer to the team boss right now. Absolutely, accidents happen. He didn't know that hose was still there, but that was a mistake that cost him some time. Fuel now.
Interestingly enough, I didn't see the left front air hose anywhere close to the left front wheel on either one of those cars on the flat stop.
Was the guy still there?
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
But he was clutching it very close. If you notice, left-hand side of the screen, he held it in. And that's what it should be. Double check that it's not going to happen again.
You know what? The thing about Chip Ganassi, he gives all the credit to his team, and he hires good people. People stay there. They clearly like to work for him. He lets them do their job. But that's a case where he doesn't say a lot, but when he speaks, people listen. He's there. He's on site. And that was something that was starting to say about Pruitt and Montoya not getting along. And he said, Scott said, that's one of the interesting things. He says the driver lineup is totally Chip's domain. And so they're kind of waiting to see how Chip wants to run things. And so, you know, he said he wanted Montoya in that car. Maybe it was to keep him focused. Tim Keene said, I want him. But interesting lineup there as we see both Action Express cars in at the same time as well. They're like, I won't say it.
And Alan McNish, the number 2, came in. The picture to your right, it's Ryan Dial, not Evel Knievel, who climbed in the number 2. You saw that suit. It was very Evel Knievel-ish. And Dial takes off in the number 2. The 9 from Action Express underway, and a little bit of delay for the 5. Looking inside that car, is there a brake rotor fire on the right front? As they work inside the cockpit. Was it just the light? Yeah. That brake rotor fire typically is not a big deal. It will blow itself out, but it is one of those things that you have to keep an eye on. If you sit for too long,